Although my chat with Gordon Murray at the Goodwood Revival was very brief, he did confirm that reliability shouldn't be an issue this time around, as the car was properly engineered. That means a lot coming from him. Mr. Murray also told me that the car's rear wing will be retractable in production, which isn't too surprising knowing how much he prefers clean lines over shouty aerodynamic aids. Earlier that day, a much longer conversation with TVR chief Les Edgar revealed most everything there is to know about the brand's future plans. Meanwhile, to those who perhaps don't seem to fancy the Griffith's design all that much, he said, "Hey, if everybody loved it, we would be building a Porsche, right?" The new Griffith is no Porsche, that's for sure. Instead, it's a lightweight front mid-engine British sports car with 50/50 weight distribution, a carbon fiber chassis, a dry sump Cosworth tuned, 500 horsepower Ford V8, clever aerodynamics and a fancy leather interior. TVR wants to put it in production late next year at a brand new factory in Wales. And now that the finished prototype is out, we shall take a closer look at what they've accomplished in the last 3 years. Design. Edgar told me TVR had no chance of messing up the engineering part, since after getting their target figures, Gordon Murray set to work. Then, on day 1, he stood up to TVR's board and gave them his iStream chassis design, telling them, "This is your chassis, don't change it." Since it would have been rude to argue with a professor, TVR could move on to a more pressing challenge on the list, the question of exterior and interior styling. TVR never had a distinct design language. Since the brand kept coming up with a new set of lines for every decade, the current team was left with not much to start with. Clean sheet. The Griffith wasn't penned by a single name. Instead, TVR's team effort was focusing on getting the right proportions in a small size package, ending up scrapping a finished clay model in favor of the sole alternative. Once they put all hope into that one, Edgar was trying to visualize it in the metal, keeping his fingers crossed that a TVR would emerge from the chaos. He believes they've succeeded. Inside, the Griffith has 3 golden pedals, almost like a McLaren F1, a full leather interior, and a digital instrument panel, because it's not a retro car. What's more, the interface was drawn by game designers, so the graphics should look impressive while they display all the relevant info a driver could want. The switches have been customized to make you feel special, and while TVR has thrown away as much electric equipment as possible, mostly to save weight and the costs, this also makes the Griffith more reliable in the long run. Edgar says the car only makes sense if it's solid enough to be used every day. Power. It has the Mustang GT's 5.0 massaged to 500 horses by Cosworth, with dry sump lubrication, connected to a very short side pipe. It comes with all the easy maintenance a Ford V8 can offer. What's more, this engine is 50 state legal, which will come handy once TVR gets big enough to go sailing. Les Edgar is a devoted fan of superchargers, so if they will ever need more power, that's what he'll go for. Currently though, they have no such ambitions. In any case, the Tremec gearbox can take up to 700 feet lb, and so can Gordon Murray's super-rigid chassis. But as long as lightness is there, it's hard to imagine TVR needing a more aggressive tune. The Griffith will smoke its tires just fine. Speed. It can hit 200 miles per hour with sufficient downforce levels, all thanks to a dry weight of 2755 pounds, and huge diffusers doing their job. It's great to see the Gordon Murray design badge on a production-ready car. If TVR ever wants to go faster, the challenge will be to put more weight on the rear axle, as it always is. Racing. Once the cars are on the road in late 2018, TVR intends to relaunch its one-make Tuscan Challenge series, which will also support their Le Mans campaign. At this point, Les Edgar isn't sure when they can start attacking Aston Martin, Ferrari and the Corvettes in the GT class, but his ambition is to stand on the podium after their second season, and win it in the third. Finishing alone is not good enough anymore, and the Griffith has been made longer and wider with Le Mans in mind. Gordon Murray's team also includes such names as Frank Kopuk, the former head of vehicle development at McLaren, who was responsible for the F1 GT, a race car development program, including the FIA GT, Le Mans and the Japan GT Championship. Remember how that went, with the most unlikely car and all? Future in America. In the 3 years leading up to this point, there were rumors of a TVR 2+2, a cabriolet, supercharged car and even an SUV down the line. Now, Edgar says that a Griffith Targa seems like a more logical step, but only after they manage to satisfy demand for the coupe. However, they already have a design for the soft top as well, and although it may not be as practical as either the Griffith or the Targa would be, a slightly heavier and complex vehicle should have its premiere in America. Of course, they need to find an overseas partner for such a venture, and, more crucially, nail Europe first. TVR simulation crash tests suggest that the Griffith will meet federal requirements. If that turns out to be the case in action, TVR will have a global product at its disposal. As for a base TVR, Edgar says that while a standard composite chassis is also ready to go, customers don't seem to mind the price of the carbon fiber one. So coming up with a cheaper car is not a priority at the moment. Yet they shall have one, just to keep us happy too.